What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Real GP Zerker Edition. It's been a while since I've got to get around to one of these, but for this episode, we're going to be checking out the Kurasks. And as you should know by now, if you've been keeping up with this series, all of these NPCs and the weapons I am using were voted in by the viewers before this started. So I actually split this one up. I have 10 hours of Kurasks with the leaf-bladed battle axe and 10 hours with a crossbow and the broad bolts for this. So we're going to see which one of these can you make more money per hour with. So first thing is first, we're going to jump into a little bit of information about the Kurasks. 97 hit points, 67 attack, 105 strength, and 105 defense. Magic and range are both level 1. As for their defensive stats, +0 to stab, +20 to slash and crush, +0 to magic, and +0 to ranged. So if you're here watching this video and by the end of the video you think this might be something for you to do, well, first you need to know that Kurasks require a Slayer level of at least a level 70 to kill. Now you could boost with a Wild Pie from 65, but really no reason to do that. 65 to 70, it's not really that far in terms of XP. Also, you'll want to be using a leaf-bladed battle axe, which we'll go over shortly, because it does do extra damage while fighting the Kurasks. It will deal 17.5% more damage. As for them as a whole, you have to use a type of special weaponry against the Kurasks, which is leaf-bladed or broad ammunition. So that is the leaf-bladed spear, sword, and battle axe, or broad bolts and broad arrows. As for the Kurasks drop table around the time of this video being made, the average kill is worth around 4100 GP. If you're killing them in the Slayer dungeon over in Prifddinas, it's going to be around 4600 due to the chance of receiving crystal shards. Now for this video, I'm killing them in the Relica Slayer caves because this is a mid-level account. Most mid-levels are not going to be having Song of the Elves done. As for the weapons and armor, Mithril Kites, Rune Longs, Addy Plates, Rune Axes, Leaf-Bladed Swords, Mystic Robe Tops, Light, and Leaf-Bladed Battle Axes. Pretty much when you get these as a drop, you're going to want to alch all of this. Aside from the Leaf-Bladed Battle Axe, it does alch for like 20k less than it sells for, so if you get an extra one, might want to sell that one. Everything else, just alch it. Runes, they do drop 10, 15, and 30 nature runes at a time quite frequently, so those will stack up over time. They do also drop grimy herbs, so definitely going to want to have an herb sack with you at all times while you're here. Seeds, they definitely do drop those too. Valuable ones are Snapdragon and Torstal. You won't see a ton of them, but you will grab a few depending on how long you're here. As for their other drops, they do drop coins very frequently, 2,000 to 3,000, and occasionally a stack of 10,000. Noted flax, don't really worry about those, not worth anything. White berries, 12 of those noted. Big bones, papaya fruits, and coconuts that are also noted drops. As for the tertiary drop table, crystal shards if you're over in the Elven dungeon, brimstone keys on a Slayer task from Konar, clue scrolls, and Kurask's heads are 1 in 3,000. Moving on to the gear and inventory setup, as I mentioned earlier, I did do 10 hours of melee killing and 10 hours of range killing. So left is melee, right is ranged, if you couldn't tell by the big letters that are outlined. As for the melee setup, I'm going with the Berserker's Helm, and obviously if you're on a Slayer task, you'll want to use a Slayer Helm or Black Mask. Fire Cape, Amulet of Fury, Bandos Blessing, but any blessing will work, Leaf-Bladed Battle Axe, Proselyte top and bottom, Rune Defender, Barrow's Gloves, Rune Boots, and a Berserker's Ring imbued. In the inventory here, I have 2 Super Combat Potions because I'm lazy. If you're trying to save a little bit more cash, you can use Super Attack and Strength. 14 Prayer Potions, and this is because they do hit pretty decently on mid-level accounts. This is a level 45 defense Zerker, so if I wasn't praying melee, I would get absolutely wrecked. I also have an herb sack, which will pick up all the grimy herbs for me because those do add up over time. I have a Slayer ring to get myself to the Relica Slayer cave quickly. Nature runes and fire runes in my rune pouch for high alchemies because, like we said earlier, a lot of stuff they drop you can alch, and house teleports to get myself out. Over on the right for the range setup, I am using the Blessed Coif, D'hide top, bottoms, and boots. And this is only because I have it. If you don't have this and you don't want to spend the extra money on it, Black D'hide and an Archer's Helm will absolutely work in place of this. Ava's Accumulator, Amulet of Fury, Broad Bolts is going to be my ammunition. They are significantly cheaper than Amethyst Broad Bolts, and the DPS, yes, it will increase your kills per hour, but we're trying to stay relatively cheap here and get some good AFK money. I am going to be using the Dragon Crossbow, and the reason I chose to do this is because they are very, very affordable at this point in time. They're only about 1.6 mil, so any mid-level account should be able to afford that. I'm using a Book of Law, which will boost my range accuracy, Barrow's Gloves, and an Archer's Ring imbued. Over in the inventory, I have 8 ranging potions, 4 doses, because you really don't have to leave here until either A, your herb sack fills up and then your inventory fills up, or B, you run out of ranging potions. So you can gauge just for yourselves. As for the 8 ranging potions, I was able to stay the entire time that I had these ranging potions until I ran out. Also, the herb sack, just like before, they do drop herbs. The Slayer Ring to teleport myself there quickly, High Alchemies, and House Teleports to get myself out. So the first thing we will get into as far as total kills and loot goes is going to be the melee setup, and for the melee setup I ended up being able to kill 1,310 Kurasks in the 10 hours that I did them with the melee combat style. That ended up averaging me 131 kills per hour. As for the total loot coming up on the screen now, I ended up with 6,216,895 GP as my gross value, 2,366k in cash drops, that is 2.366 million, 3,500 nature runes, and the Renar stack was decent, 45 of those. As far as Snapdragon seeds go, 9 of them for 433k, 3 Torstal seeds. The other stacks are pretty good, but the coconuts are where it's at. 490 of them for almost a million GP there. I did end up getting 2 leaf-bladed battle axes, but because they're so cheap nowadays, they don't really matter that much. Throughout the 10 hours that I spent here with the melee combat style, I ended up spending 870,000 GP in supplies, and that was the prayer potions, the super combats, and the nature runes that I used while I was here. That takes my net profit down to 5.34 million GP total, and averaged over the course of 10 hours, we're looking at 534,000 GP per hour on a mid-level account, and that is pure profit. Moving into the range setup, my total kills did drop quite a bit. I ended up getting 1,086 total kills throughout the same amount of time, 10 hours, and that ended up averaging me 108 kills per hour. Throughout those kills, I managed to accumulate 5,203,320 total GP. My cash stack was around 2.6 million, 2,795 nature runes. As for the Renars, 47 of those, 300k stack there. I ended up with 7 Snapdragon seeds, 324k. Unfortunately, no Torstals throughout this one. And once again, the coconuts, 1,892 each for a total stack of around 600k. And obviously, since I'm ranging and not using super combat potions and prayer potions, my supply cost is going to be a lot less than the melee style. Only ended up spending 167,000 GP throughout the 10 hours, bringing my net profit with the ranging style to 5.03 million, giving me a total pure profit per hour of 503,000 GP. As for the experience rates, yes, I did keep track of those, and honestly, they weren't that bad. For the melee style, once again, the leaf-bladed battle axe was my weapon of choice. I ended up with 508,280 total strength XP, which ended up averaging me out to 50,828 experience per hour. And as for the range style, weapon of choice, once again, was the Dragon Crossbow with broad bolts. Total experience, 421,368 ranging experience, and average out throughout the 10 hours, 42,137 XP per hour. For not being on a Slayer task and ranging XP with a crossbow, not really that bad. So now that we have all that information to work with, it's time for my final thoughts on the Kurasks. The Kurasks, you're not going to make as much money as you could there a couple of years ago, but the value on the profit per hour is still very good, especially for mid-level accounts, especially with players that don't have any bossing experience yet and really don't have a way to bring in a lot of income per hour. This is definitely something I can see working for an account. Maybe you have lost your items PKing, or maybe you're just on hard times, whatever. This is a great place that you can come and build back up a bank as a mid-level account, providing you have level 70 Slayer. Additionally, I could see this as a great place for some of the Iron Men out there who really despise rune crafting, even though you're going to do it at some point or another. You can come here and stack up some nature runes pretty quickly if you really need those to alch other things. As far as the herbs go, I wouldn't say it's great for herb lore experience, but if you're in a pinch and you want to get some experience as well as make some money and get some herbs to train your herb lore skill, this could also be somewhat decent place for it. Definitely not the best, but it's just an idea. And last but not least, the experience rates are really not that bad, as I said earlier. Over 50,000 experience per hour in the melee combat style, and over 40,000 ranging experience per hour in the ranged style, so really that's not really anything to turn up your nose at. You can get a decent amount of XP, train your account, and make a decent amount of money for a mid-level account all at the same time while at the Kurasks. Alright everybody, that is going to do it for the Real GP Zerker edition featuring the Kurasks. I hope that you have found this video insightful, and if you have a mid-level account and you're struggling to make some money, I hope that you may have learned something from this, and it might help you decide if you want to come spend some time here and maybe build up a bank. I mean, if you have some free time on, just a random day and you spend 4 to 6 hours here, you're looking at somewhere between 2 to 3 mil that you didn't have before. So as usual guys, if you like this video, please leave a thumbs up down below. They really do help the video's popularity. If you liked it that much, you can even tap the subscribe button on your way out. All of your support means a ton to me. And if you really want to support the channel, you can become a channel member. You will get exclusive access to channel member only posts and channel member events with me. So thank you again guys for watching. I will see you guys on the next one. Take it easy everybody.